I love it. Me too. So great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Okay.
So, before we get into your story, before we dig into your writing and your history, I want to know this first and foremost. 5 years ago, this pandemic was such a big deal for all of us, changed our lives and our world. How did you get through it, and how has it affected the way that you write and live your life today?
Great question. Um, so I got through it, um, like everyone else, taking a lot of walks and trying to figure out what our new life meant. I also got through it by writing. I had been to a couple of workshops, and the writers in the workshops, we formed an online writers critique group during the pandemic, and it saved me. It was every Tuesday evening, and the people were all over. There were like eight of us that were kind of regulars, and I just kept writing. They kept writing. We shared our writing, and several of us hadn't met in person. We had just met online. So that saved me. But I also was going through some major life changes during the pandemic. Um, I ended up separating from my husband of who I'd been married to over 30 years and ended up divorcing, and it kind of all came to a head during the pandemic.
Wow.
So, and my mom, who I'm very close to, died in 2022 from complications from COVID. So it hit me hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. To get a handle on what you do for a living right now, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to put you
Okay.
in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day, and one of the kids is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Oh, I have fun for a living.
I love it.
I'm retired. I call myself a recovering CPA. I worked for big eight accounting firms, and I then I worked for just clients, worked part-time. And I didn't become a writer until I was in my mid 50s.
Yeah.
So now my days are wonderful. I hike about 3 times a week. I write when I can, but I'm also enjoying just living. I travel. I garden. I have 3 cats that are rescue cats. I didn't intend to have 3 cats. They found me. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I am so fortunate that I can pretty much wake up and do what I want to do.
That's wonderful. So, what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? When you were that young, what was your dream
Oh
job?
gosh. I think when I was 12, I probably, it's such a good question. My kids joke that I don't remember anything about my childhood. I think I probably wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a kindergarten teacher, and my dad at that time when I was 12 was a professor. So education was big in our family, and I probably thought about being a teacher because I was the middle child, the only daughter, and I did what my parents said. Neither of my brothers did, so I was the one who
Yeah.
followed all the rules and everything. So
So, were you originally from Texas?
no, my dad was in the Navy when I was born, and we moved around quite a bit. I was born in California,
Okay.
and we moved all over Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. My dad got out of the Navy, and he was became a accounting professor. And we still moved around because he liked to teach, not publish. Um, so I went to 3 different high schools.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, it was not fun as a high schooler, but we ended up in Texas.
Okay.
And so then I went to college in Texas, and I met my husband there. And we moved around some. We moved to Tulsa and St. Louis, which is a great, not too far from Kansas
Yeah.
City.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then ended up back in Dallas and raised the kids there and everything. So,
So, what were the foundational elements growing up that gave you this love of writing, being a CPA, being a teacher? How did all of these things, because there's a little right and left brain going on there. How did,
yeah, very much so.
yeah,
So, my mom read to us every day, even up until our teens. Reading was a big part of my life. Because we moved so often, books and the characters in the books were my friends before I made real people friends.
yeah,
So that was important. And then education, like going to college wasn't an option. My dad was Navy pilot and used to getting his way. So, he insisted we all three go to college, and we did. And I originally, my form of rebellion was to major in horticulture my first 2 years of college, because my dad wanted me to be an accountant. But then I took some accounting classes and did really well, so I switched over to accounting. And I actually moved to where he was teaching at North Texas. Back then, it was called North Texas State University in Denton, Texas. And it didn't work out us being in the same college. All his friends would tell him if I skipped class or anything. So he ended up taking a year sabbatical in Austin, Texas at University of Texas. And I lived in their house with two friends my senior year
Yeah.
and had a great time.
Yeah.
But that was back in the 80s. So when I graduated, I had probably 10 job offers from oil and gas companies and accounting firms. It was, the heyday of,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like it is now for college kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a jazz radio show in North Texas. Is a huge jazz
Oh,
presence.
yeah. UNT Jazz Band. It's
Yeah.
amazing. The 1 o'clock.
One
Yeah.
o'clock lab band. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know about them very well.
Yeah.
A lot of
Love
musicians.
jazz.
Yeah, right on. Excellent.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Who was the hero? Who was the inspiration that's allowed you to navigate through these different career places and define writing? Who has been that for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, probably a combination of, because I never thought of myself as a writer. I just thought of myself as a reader. So I think the person who helped me switch from thinking I could be a writer was actually Marcus Zuzak, the author, Australian author. So my kids went to this great high school and they had this thing called the Highland Park Literary Festival every year. And they would bring in a keynote author and then lots of local authors. And instead of going to English, they would go to workshops. And I got involved as a volunteer and ended up running it for like 5 years. And Marcus Zuzak was one of our keynote authors. And I had the honor of picking him up from the airport and taking him to dinner before the big event. And he just helped me believe in myself that I could write.
Yeah.
So he was probably one hero, and definitely my mom. She's like my dad used to joke it was hard being married to a saint because she's just positivity on steroids. Just always my cheerleader, and probably to some degree over the board, over the top. I mean, like where it got to be where I had to think on the bright side all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she was definitely my cheerleader. And then I would say my kids, when I was going through the separation and the divorce, my kids were very supportive and helped me believe in myself.
So let me ask you this. What was the book growing up that you loved that still to this day holds a special place in your heart?
Um, there are so many books, but probably A Tree Grows in Brooklyn was one of the ones that I read. It's funny though, I just reread it again. And there's parts of it that I didn't remember as a kid. I kind of glossed over some of the really hardships. I just focused on Franny, reading and surviving through reading and then accomplishing what she wanted. I didn't
Yeah.
focus on all the other bad stuff that was happening.
Yeah, for sure.
So
S-
it's fun to reread books that, were a big part of your childhood. Because like Beverly Clearly was definitely an author that I read a lot of her books. The Mouse and the Motorcycle was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So talk to me a little bit about Whistling Women and Crowing Hens. Talk to me about the novel.
okay. Well, it's it's very close to my heart. So my mom had Alzheimer's and we were having to move her into assisted living, which was a very difficult process. And my dad wanted me to help clean out some things from their house when she was being moved. So I found this box of mementos that had moved with them. It was a very well-worn box, and it had her handwriting, Kurt's family history. And I'd never seen it. And it had moved from them from California. They actually ended up living in Hawaii for about 20 years. So, anyways, this box had a whole bunch of mementos from her mother, my grandmother. And I found out that my grandmother had traveled with the Chautauqua Circuit, which was a big thing at the turn of the 20th century. And she was a professional whistler and trombone player. And I just hadn't heard of Chautauqua, or I never knew she played the trombone. She died when I was about 8, so I didn't have many years with her. But my mom talked about her a lot. I knew she whistled bird calls, but I didn't know all this history. And so I first started thinking, I've got to write a story for the family about Grandma Lambert. And then I just couldn't, I had a few things, but I couldn't really write her story because I couldn't ask her questions. And my mom was past the point where she could tell me anything. So these characters just kind of came into my head during my walks. I walk a lot, and I just had to tell their story.
I love
So,
it.
and the left side of my brain was like, okay, Melora, you don't really know how to write creatively. I've written, a lot of papers and emails. Um, so after I'd written about 20 to 30 pages, I looked for a workshop to go to. And from there, I went to writing workshops. I took some continuing education online classes through Stanford University, which I highly recommend. Each one was really great. I joined this writer's critique group, and I just really honed my skill as a writer. I think being an avid reader helps being a good writer, but also persistence and, just listening to feedback. I got a lot of good critiques.
Yeah.
And just kept rewriting and editing and rewriting, and the story grew. The characters, I definitely prefer character forward stories, so this one's very character forward. But that's how it all got started.
Yeah. So did you ever dream of being a writer? Was that ever something you thought would
No,
happen? No?
no, that's not what happened. This story just sang to me, and I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I just felt like I had to tell it.
Yeah.
And so and I think I firmly believe I didn't find that box till I needed to find that box, because it was at a transition time in my life, and at a time where my kids were all living their own lives. They had graduated from college and moved away, far away. And so, I was kind of looking for something to do, and I just dove in and believed that I could do it.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
what is it that gets you up every day? What is it that motivates you to write and to live the life that you do, to take care of your soul? What is that every day for you?
Oh, that's God, man, you just got these great questions. I just think believing in myself gets me up every day, and believing that I can have a really good day. Attitude for me plays a big part in it, and I feel like I definitely need to have the attitude to believe that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And that's all new to me since I've kind of stepped out on my own. I think I struggled with that when I was married and raising kids, but now that I'm on my own through lots of therapy, I believe in, setting a purpose and making it happen. Like I've only lived in North Carolina for 2 years. After the divorce, I knew I needed to start somewhere new, and I wasn't sure where to move to. My kids were all doing their own thing, but um, I didn't want to be that hovering mom.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to have a place that was my own. So I knew 4 writers in North Carolina. And I moved here temporarily, but then now I'm here, forever long. And I knew I had to get out of my comfort zone to make new friends. I signed up on meetups, went on hikes,
Yeah,
just so I think purpose probably that now that I'm getting back to your question, purpose is probably what gets me up every morning.
for sure. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into a younger version of you, an 18-year-old version that's ready to go out into the world and change things, What would you give that younger version of you? What advice would you give based on the life you've lived, the wisdom that you've accumulated over all these years?
Oh man, I have a lot to say to her. I think the main thing was just, listen to yourself, believe in yourself. I think I spent a majority of my life listening to my dad and my mom telling me what to do, and then listening to my husband telling me what I could or couldn't do. Not he wasn't extreme by any way, but enough where it influenced me. I self-doubted all the time. So I would like to tell my 18-year-old to go ahead and, listen to yourself and do what you want to do. Because like I didn't dream of being a CPA. Who dreams of being a CPA, right? I definitely wanted to do something much more creative, but I didn't think I could, so I didn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you this: if you were to walk into a room of everybody that knew you as a CPA, has known you in a professional sense, and you could tell that room one fun story, maybe a really cool live jazz show you went to, a great place you traveled to, an adventure you've been on, just a fun story, what would you tell that room?
Oh, goodness. Well, I don't know. Let me just tell you this one quick story. So
Sure.
I kind of did that because I went back to Dallas for a second book launch,
Yeah.
and many of the people there had no idea I was even writing a book, let alone that I could get it published. And so it was quite a going back to the hometown type feeling because so many of those people, they just didn't believe I could write a book
Yeah.
and maybe a good book. And so talking about my book to them afterwards, several of them are like, Melora, you were just glowing. Like, I can't believe how happy you are and how you seem so fulfilled. And like, they were just shocked that I had succeeded in something that I set out to do and was doing it well. And then since then, when they've read the book, they'll be like, Melora, I was reading this book and I had to keep telling myself, Melora wrote this. This is pretty good. Like she wrote this. I can't believe it. And I mean, like, is that a compliment or?
Right. Right.
So I think if I told a room of my former CPA group, it would probably be a story of accomplishing something. The year I got divorced, I decided I needed an audacious goal. And since I love walking and hiking, I picked this path in England called the Southwest Coast Path. And it's actually 630 miles long. I didn't hike the whole thing. I hiked a little over 100 miles over 7 days by myself.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, so I wasn't camping. Don't like this was not a
Yeah.
a survival thing.
Sure.
There's companies over in England who you carry your day pack and they'll move your suitcase to the next pub, basically, or bed and breakfast that's a pub. And so I hiked along the coast, mostly in the Cornwall region, for 7 days by myself. And it was life-changing.
Yeah.
And it really just helped me believe I can do what I put my mind
That's
to.
great. What a great story. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I was looking for. So
yeah.
let me ask you this. Of everything that you've done, accomplished, all the adventures, all the evolution, what are you the proudest of?
I think my book.
Yeah.
I mean, holding that book in my hand with my name on it, and my legal name is Melora Lizer. It's still my married name because my kids have that name,
Yeah.
and my maiden name was Davis, but my middle name is Fern, and so it was really important for me to have the book be by Melora Fern because
Yeah.
it's 100% me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the cover, the artist at my publisher, Sublime Press, Alicia. She just did an outstanding
It is
job with the
great.
cover. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about bright colors, and she definitely hit that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think right now,
Yeah.
my biggest accomplishment is the book, and that I got it published, and
Yep.
that, yeah.
Right
Because
on.
as you know, the whole process of publishing is a whole nother beat down
Huh?
and
Uh-huh. It's a
learning
long
thing.
journey. It is a long journey.
Yeah.
So everyone has this idea of who they think you are, perception. Your family, your friends, everyone that gets your book, everyone that knows you, everyone you worked with, but you're the one in control. What's your
Hmm.
perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, I think I'm a kick-ass woman.
Get that.
Sorry, can I say that on
Yeah,
here?
you can. You absolutely can.
Yeah, no, I think I'm different than most people perceive me. I definitely have days where I have to convince myself to get up and to like go on a hike or meet new people. I'm not real good at meeting new people, but people think I am because I come across very cheerful and take charge. But I have a lot of internal talks with myself, so but I'm okay with that. It's okay to be that way.
Yeah.
Um, but I also and I feel like I'm purposeful, but I'm not crazy about it. Like I can have days where I don't do anything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I don't want to sound like I'm this amazing person who does, and everything doesn't always work the way I want it to.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it. That's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to pick up a copy of Whistling Women and Crowing Hens, reach out. Any of the good business in your world, where's the best place to go?
Well, I have a website, melorafern.com, and I'm very lucky. My middle child designed the website and is helping me with promotion and everything. So on the website, there's you can buy the book either in ebook format or print, and it's all listed on there. And I also blog once a week, and there's the blogs are on there if you want to learn more details about me and especially about the history around my book. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wonderful. Melora, this has been so good. Thank you so much for your story. Best of luck on the book. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you very much. It was
Thank
great
you.
chatting with you.
Great chatting with you. Thank you.